Okay, young people, second edition here, Matter and Energy Lecture 2, extensive versus intensive properties. Okay, physical properties, again, just to review, physical properties can be observed or measured without changing the identity of the substance, but chemical properties cannot. We're going to be focusing on the physical properties right now. We're going to focus on those because those are our wheelhouse right now. We are not going to be able to understand chemical change just yet, and we're going to kind of stick to it, but we will get there, so don't panic. So basically, properties you notice when using your five senses. If you feel it, mass, volume, or texture. Sight, that's the color. Hearing, yeah, maybe you're hearing something going on. Smelling, odor. Taste, if you can taste it. All of those things can give us physical properties. Extensive properties are properties that do depend on the amount of matter present. Mass, volume, length, even weight depends on the amount of matter. So how much is there is important. Extensive properties again do depend on the amount of matter. So mass is one, volume is one, energy. The amount of a substance, something called moles, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. We'll be talking about moles a little bit later. Trying to get a color here again. So we'll be talking about moles a little bit later and explaining what that is. Enthalpy, that's the amount of energy released or taken in a reaction. Entropy, the amount of disorder that would happen in a reaction. So we can see up here, I have some gold coins. Here, let me turn my little picture off here so I'm not in the way. I have some gold coins. Then I have gold bars. So what do I notice? Well, the gold bars have more mass and volume, would require more energy to melt, have more amount of substance, therefore it's extensive. It's an extensive property. Now, intensive properties, very simply, properties that do not depend on the amount of matter present. So properties that do not depend on the amount of matter present are called intensive. Color, odor, hardness, melting, freezing point, boiling point, density, malleability, luster, all are intensive. So remember, they do not depend on the amount of matter. So color, odor, luster, how shiny an object is. So the shininess of this particular substance is determined by its substance, not by the fact that it is there's so much there. Malleability, that's the ability to be beaten into thin sheets like aluminum foil. Ductility is the ability to be drawn into wires. So this guy is very ductile. Copper is a very ductile substance. It can be pulled into wires very easily. Okay, conductivity is another intensive property. It's the ability of electrons to flow. Hardness like how a diamond is hard. Melting and freezing point, the temperature at which solids or liquids freeze. Okay, notice here, I've got liquid and solid water all at the same time. Why? Because this is the melting and freezing point all at the same time. And then finally, boiling point, the temperature at which the vapor pressure of a liquid is equal to the pressure of a liquid. So basically, that's when it changes into a gas. So when something's changing into a gas, we've reached the boiling point. So how do we know? Intensive properties depend on the amount, things like mass and volume. We have to measure these things. We know the substance, the amount of substance matters. Intensive properties depend on the type of matter. Hardness, for example. So if we look at the diamond is one of the hardest substances known to man. Granite, this rock, is pretty hard too, but cotton balls, they're not so hard, okay? So density is a very important intensive property. It is the amount of matter in a given volume. We basically take a ratio of two extensive properties. That's mass and volume. Both of these are extensive, okay? And Archimedes was one of the first ones to discover this. So that is it for this edition. Thank you very much.